Okay, we'll start off with one trivia question. $10 It's all very exciting questions related to insurance. When was the last time Tampa Bay got hit directly by a hurricane? And Hurricane Charlie and Irma doesn't count because it wasn't a direct hit. So a direct hit coming up the mouth of Tampa Bay. What year? Long time ago. It is called 1920. Anybody? That's close. That's extremely close. Matter of fact, you can't get much closer than that. 1921. 100 years. It'll be 100 years in this in September. There you go. What's your name, sir? John. Thank you, John. All right. Good afternoon. My name is Adam Lopatin. I work for USI Insurance Services. This is my partner here in crime, Mr. Brian Burns. He's going to be handling the IT today. He's a Microsoft certified IT person. For those that don't know me, or USI is an insurance broker. We're not the insurance company. We work for the community and the owners as your insurance representative and risk management arm. USI is the 5th or 6th largest insurance broker in the world. We handle more condos than any other broker in Florida. I run the condo division for USI. We're located in Rocky Point. We have 250 professionals there. I've been doing it for 25 years. If you can believe it, I know I look like I'm 25, but I'm not. I'm 52. I'll be 52. I'll be 53 this year. So pretty soon I'll be able to buy my own place here. So we work for you guys. So I just want to let you know that. So today's focus is going to be on unit owners coverage. What should you have? What is the responsibility of the association to cover, and what the unit owner's responsibility is to cover. So if there is a loss, we are crystal clear on whose responsibility is what. Okay? Any questions? All right. And we're going to keep it very casual. So again, ask questions, stop me. You can keep your phones on. Nothing bothers me. I keep talking. Okay, here's the table of contents. We're going to talk about, first we're going to give out our contact information. So after the meeting, if you all have any questions, you can email or contact Brian and I directly on our cell phones or emails. Certificates of insurance we're going to go over. 718-111 we're going to go over. And then we're going to go over a checklist for people that go back home during the summer. How many people are go home for this, go to a different place for the summer? So where do you got this big? Where do you go? Where's your summertime residence? Is it where? Pennsylvania, New York, New Hampshire. Nice. No politics. We're not talking any politics today. Who else goes away for the summer? Where do you guys go north? Michigan. Like Upper Peninsula, Michigan? Nice. Mackinac? Near Mackinac? Mackinac's like where tourists go, right? That's not going to be good. How about you? Do you go away?
I don't have enough money.
You don't have enough money. You guys all year round? Syracuse. Ooh, upstate New York. Orange. Ohio. Where in Ohio?
Up around the Greater Islands, up by Toledo.
Okay.
A place called Catania.
I never heard of that. So I told the other group, I'm born and raised in Clearwater, Florida. My grandfather moved to Tarpon Springs in 1953. I was born in Morton Plant Hospital. My wife was born in Morton Plant Hospital, and my 2 sons were born in Morton Plant Hospital. But every girl I ever dated was from Ohio. Because everybody around here is from Ohio. It's unbelievable. But anyways, my wife's family's from Piqua, Ohio, which is right near Dayton, small little town. All right, so let's go. All right, Brian, next slide. So these are our contacts. Brian, is your senior vice president now? I can't believe they promoted you. So Brian Burns, there's his email address and cell number, and there's my email address and cell number. You can email me or call me 24/7. Doesn't matter. If my wife's not yelling at me, I'll pick up the phone. The next is if you would like to talk to somebody about your homeowner's insurance, you can, if you want to, call Patrick. Yeah, it should be Sullivan. I don't know why it says Quillivan, but that's his name. There's his number. He will be there. He may not be able to necessarily beat what you have, but he's there to consult you. So if you want someone to talk to, he will be there. You can call him, or you can call Brian and I to consult us if you have any questions. Okay? The next, how many people have mortgages on their place? One. So when you have a mortgage on your condo, your bank will need proof of insurance. Okay? So this is what you'll do if your bank does request proof of coverage. You can send it right to EOI Direct. You can email the letter from your bank or fax a letter to your bank to EOI Direct, and they'll issue a proof of insurance directly to your bank. Now, your bank may already have this information, they may automatically get it, so you may not have to deal with it, but I just want to bring that up to you guys. Who knows what 718.111, what is that? Does anybody know what that is? Florida statutes, that's correct. 718, which we refer to, is this Florida statute that dictates what insurance condos must do as far as insurance is concerned. And this is a great table. So this should be you should take a picture of this and put this on your phone, okay? What this does is, on the left-hand column, it shows if we have a covered cause of loss, what the association is responsible for repairing and replacing. On the right-hand column, it shows if we have a covered loss, what the unit owner is responsible for repairing and replacing. I don't make the rules. Keith, First Service, doesn't make the rules. The CAM managers, it's all dictated by this statute. And a matter of fact, this statute takes precedence over your condo docs. So it doesn't matter what your condo docs if it's clearly stated here. So let's kind of go through a scenario here. Let's go down this first. So if Hurricane Brian damages a condo building in Kings Point, if it exceeds the deductible, then the roof. If the roof is damaged, the association's insurance policy will cover to repair and replace the roof, subject to the deductible. Exterior walls. Oh, question, yes?
I'm the treasurer of one of our associations. How do we know what our deductibles are? That's my association.
So great. If you have a question what your deductible is, call me and I will tell you what your deductible is. The deductible is the same for every community. It's for a hurricane. For non-hurricane, it's a $2,500 deductible. If it's a hurricane, and how I define hurricane in a way that's defined in the policy is, it gets kind of confusing, and insurance companies do this. If it's declared, if Florida's put on a hurricane watch by the National Hurricane Center 72 hours prior to causing the loss, or 72 hours after it causes the loss, then a 5% deductible will apply to the damage. And the percent deductible applies, it's 5% times the building value, not the loss. So if you have that $1 million building and the roof is damaged, 5% of $1 million is $50,000. Anything over $50,000, it applies. That's the way the deductible applies. Who pays the deductible? Great question. Typically is assessment. All your unit owners would be assessed.
Table that for the end.
All right, we'll table that for the end. Okay. So, real quick, who remembers ETA or ETA? That was a storm that hit in December or the end of November, which is unheard of. Remember, it hit the Keys as a hurricane, and then it came up here as a tropical storm. If that would have caused a loss to any of the associations here in Kings Point, that 5% deductible would apply because the National Hurricane Center did put Florida on a hurricane watch 72 hours prior to causing the loss. If it's not a hurricane, then it's only a $2,500 deductible. Okay, and then we do have a sinkhole deductible too, which I think is 3%. So if it's a sinkhole damage, then it's 3%. But if you want details of your deductible for your association, all of them are 5% and all of them are 3%, but again, it's times the value of your building. So if you have, and it's a per building deductible too, which is really good. So if you have, give an example, if we have 10 buildings in your community, and each building is $1 million, well, a lot of times with these hurricanes, we get microbursts, and maybe 3 of the buildings are only damaged out of the 10, right? Well, they're not going to take 5% times 10 million. They're going to only take 5% of each building damaged. So it's a smaller deductible the way it's applied now. Okay? All right. Unit interior walls. Just keep it simple. If it's a covered cause of loss, drywall is the association's responsibility to dry out, repair, and replace. All drywall in the units is a covered cause of loss, is the association's responsibility to repair. I'm not going to go into common elements because you really don't have any common elements in your buildings, like would be like clubhouses, stuff like that. Here's the big part right here. Unit interior. These are the things that unit owners are responsible for if it's a covered cause of loss or not. Floor coverings, which means carpeting, tile, and wood floors, any floor covering. Wall coverings, paint, popcorn, wallpaper, etc. Ceiling finishes, again, popcorns, cabinets, appliances, all that, countertops, all that is your responsibility, regardless of what caused the loss. So I'm going to give you an example. Two examples. One, Hurricane Brian rips off the roof, damages your unit. The association is going to pay for the roof and the walls and the drywall and the ceiling to be put up, like decorator ready, and your policy is going to pay for all the finishes and the cabinets, appliances, and countertops. Another example, this is one that gets people a little bit confused. Say we have a pipe in the wall that bursts and floods your whole unit. And it's a common element pipe, so not a unit owner pipe, that floods your whole unit. Whose responsibility is it to repair if your wood floors are ruined, whose responsibility is to repair the wood floors? Who says condo? Who says it's going to cover an association policy? It's a common area pipe. It's a common area pipe, so is it associations or the unit owners? Who says unit owners? Who says common? Well, it's 50-50. It's the unit owner's responsibility because it sticks right here in the statute. Floor, wall, ceiling coverage, it's almost like no fault insurance. Regardless of what caused a loss, unless you can prove negligence, the items that are listed as our responsibility are the unit owner's responsibility. So if you have a common area pipe that bursts and damages, the association is going to pay for drywall and ceiling, and you're going to pay for all the things stated up there. Any questions? Yes?
How about if the unit owner has like a water softener in their garage, and it's there, it's property, and where the water comes into the water softener, that part flows through the drywall and floods the house. Is that the unit owner's responsibility?
So it is the unit owner's responsibility to repair the items left over there, and it's still the association's responsibility to repair the drywall and ceiling as long as it's a covered cause of loss, which that would be, and there's no negligence. Now, if we can prove negligence that he knew was faulty installed, yada yada, which is unlikely, but these still apply. I'll give you another example. This is a third example. Say the unit next door to you has a loss. She leaves her bathtub on. Her bathtub overflows and then damages your whole entire unit too. Okay? Still, you must turn that claim into your homeowner's carrier. Your homeowner's carrier would pay for the loss if it's covered cause of loss, and then potentially they could subrogate against the unit next door. But again, it's the same way. You turn your loss into your carrier, they're going to turn their loss into their carrier, and then everybody's going to pay the loss plus their deductible, and then if they get subrogate, the association will still pay for the drywall, etc., as long as it's a covered cause of loss. If you don't have insurance, your only choice with that situation would be to pay for yourself or sue the unit owner next door if you can. How many people don't have insurance here? Good. No, interior drywall is covered as well. Drywall and exterior walls. Yes, if there's a covered cause of loss to the drywall, the association is responsible for the repair and replacement of drywall. So, Hurricane Brian blows off your roof, gets your drywall inside all messed up, they will pay for the drywall to be replaced.
Can I ask a question? If it's like negligence on the part of the unit owner, like, if that water softener I described said, under no conditions have line pressure over 60 PSI, and if the unit owner never did any homework and doesn't know that, where the place was at 95 PSI pressure, isn't that the liability of the owner, because it's like negligent installation?
If you can prove negligence, then yes, that unit owner would be responsible. Yes.
So, gentlemen, or somebody's bathtub, they turn it on and the faucet breaks, all the water in the back wall goes all over the place. It's the association's responsibility to repair the drywall,
Correct.
and everything else is the owner.
That's correct. That's correct. Yes.
Around here, we have a lot of add-ons, Monai, and all that. Are they covered under the basic policy?
Yeah, good question. So some of the units have been altered from what was originally built by the developer. If that alteration is not original and unique to your home, then your homeowner's insurance would be responsible for the repair or replacement of those items, not the association. So you need to call your insurance professional and make sure those items that are unique to your building and your unit and exclusive to your unit are covered by your homeowner's policy.
Is that a rider?
I don't know. You need to, every carrier handles it differently, so you need to talk to your homeowner's professional.
So you're saying that if you extended your unit by adding the back porch, the screened-in porch is now my responsibility, it is not the responsibility.
That's correct, because it's not originally installed and unique to your unit. And it wasn't, it's not something that the association paid for either. It was unique.
Does that also include ones where they had a screen, they were originally put in a screen, but then they closed them with glass? Is that?
Same thing, that glass that is unique to that unit would be the unit owner's responsibility. All right, the last one is, in all good questions.
Last question.
Yes.
So if the builder, at my request as a buyer, added on that additional one space, it then becomes covered by the master policy?
If when you bought your unit, and that was the way you bought your unit, then yes.
I had it built,
Did you have it built by the builder?
yes.
So when they originally built your building, your unit was unique. So yes, and that would be covered by the association, yes. If it's still done by the original builder, you didn't alter it in any way.
Is what you're saying written anywhere?
No. Sorry. The only thing's written is that is. So if it's not written in the statute, if it's not black and white in the statute, then you refer back to your condo docs. And and then you would look for your condo docs to who is the responsibility of it.
Would that be under insurance and the
It would be under responsibilities, yes, insurable responsibilities.
Because what you're saying is a little contrary to what many of us have been around.
So what's contrary? What's the contrary part?
If you add on going up, not, my association, you've never made a differentiation between builder did it and we did it, or your owner did it, that addition was the responsibility of the owner.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if it's unique to your unit and not a builder original, then that's the unit owner's responsibility. But if it was original and you bought your unit and it was that lanai was already built out, then that would be the association's responsibility.
So let's put it there.
All right. I hate splitting hairs, but go ahead. Always makes me nervous.
I'm president of my association, you can't believe the calls I get.
Right. Well, if you get calls like that, refer them to to First Service or to me. Let me or First Service answer those questions.
Okay, I was the original owner.
Yep.
And I had the builder put this one my on, but then I altered it a little bit.
Okay.
Which in my mind says now it becomes my responsibility.
Right.
But they come down and they buy my unit.
We went through this the other thing too. You come down and buy the unit and you don't know it's not, you didn't realize it wasn't original. You didn't realize someone added it. That is confusing, I get that. So that's why we're having these meetings. If what you buy in your unit is that there's something that's done additional that is unique to your unit that you added to, maybe you built in and out or you whatever, that is typically the unit owner's responsibility. Now, you should,
So as long as she still lives there and she had that built, the builder built it for her, then it's association's responsibility.
correct.
But she leaves, I buy.
Same thing, it's still the association, it doesn't matter who owns it. If,
So how do we know if our, the unit we have does have a porch on it with the glass and the screens and everything? But our roommate does not. So I don't know the people who originally lived there.
right, it's a good question.
The original plot plan in your declarations will show where your patio or porch was. If it's not there, or you can tell, like all these ones that Knox puts in, they're all the white ones, smaller. They're all animals.
Tell me again where I look, the what? When
In
you
your declarations, there should be a section in there that has a diagram for you, shows the model of what your condo is, and it's plot plan.
The floor plan, then I'll be quiet.
Oh, no, you can talk as much as you want.
Yeah, you're
Same with my voice.
The floor plan of your model, and your can should have a copy of that. Your floor plan shows the options that you have when you're having the house built. And it shows without the line, slab or anything, or with one. So what I did was have the, when I added at the time of building, which cost more for when I bought it. But then we could add additional 3 feet, so I modified it. So now I'm saying, now it belongs to me.
The modified part, generally speaking, is your responsibility, that's correct.
But regardless, when they buy it,
They won't know.
it will.
They should know, and again, I'm sure there's ways to know what the unit was when they first built it, but, I mean, when you know, I mean, again, I'm just guessing, if I was looking at a unit, and I looked at other units in the association, and I noticed something was, again, because I'm an insurance person, so it's different, if I noticed something was unique about this unit, like the extender or something, in my mind, I say, well, I need to check to make sure that it's covered by my homeowner's policy. So the best thing to do is call your homeowner's carrier and confirm, hey, listen, this is unique to my unit, I just want to make sure this is covered. And I'm going to double check too, we're going to double check with the property care for the condo to make sure that is what I'm telling you is accurate. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
I traced it up by going to the historical county register of deeds, and whoever did these modifications.
Had a full permit, right.
Now I'm finding out that, one of all the folks got a permit.
Pro home rest too, yeah. That's a tough one.
I think that all the permits listed up.
Right. Yes.
I think you clarified my.
Okay. So the last one, which is a little confusing, and I want to clarify this. So, and I'll give you an example. Windows and doors. Windows and doors. The maintenance of those windows and doors are typically the unit owner's responsibility. If you need a new windows and doors, not due to a covered cause of loss, to say you want to put new ones in, it's unit owner's responsibility. But if they suffer a covered cause of loss like a hurricane, then the association's policy would pay it less than deductible. That comes true for air conditioning units. Every HVAC systems, the entire system in the unit, outside the unit, if it's damaged by a hurricane or a fire, the association policy will pay for the replacement or repair of that HVAC. Okay, not if you need a new one, not if it rusts out, but if it's damaged by a covered cause of loss, fire, windstorm, hurricane, etc. No flood. There's no flood. We have no flood coverage in any of the program, so not flood. Good point, though. We don't have flood. Yes.
Let me understand something. We got plumbing going through walls.
Yes.
Plumbing breaks, we have damage.
Yes.
It's the owner's responsibility.
So if plumbing breaks in the wall, regardless if it's a homeowner's pipe or a common element pipe, the association is responsible for drywall, ceiling, HVAC. It's if a covered cause of loss, and then you're responsible for wall coverings, floor coverings, ceiling finishes, paint, carpet, appliances, electrical fixtures, water heaters, and cabinets.
So it'd be the same thing with your HVAC system up in the attic area there, if there's any water damage, it's the owners, the association only takes care of the HVAC.
So for instance, let's say Hurricane Brian comes off and rips your roof off and takes the air compressor, the air conditioning compressor with it. The association policy will pay for the replacement of that air conditioner unit. If it's a fire, burns down your entire building, the association policy is going to pay less than $2,500 deductible to the building to be completely rebuilt, walls, roof, drywall, and HVAC. You're going to pay for floor coverings, wall coverings, ceiling finishes, paint, carpeting, appliances, electrical, water heaters, and cabinets. Yes?
It's back to the windows.
Yes.
All right, I just had hurricane windows installed on my entire contract.
Good.
Now, those including the frames and everything, now become my responsibility because I changed what the developer
No.
put in.
Nope. So those windows would be covered if there was a covered cause of loss. If your building got blown down, our policy is going to replace those windows with impact glass. They're going to replace it, but the maintenance of those are your responsibility. No problem. Make sure you tell your homeowners carrier that you've replaced all your windows. You should get credit for that as well. Get a mitigation form done.
Got that, I got money back from the account, from PICO.
Well, make sure you get money back from your homeowners carrier too. If you've replaced every window in your unit, so now every opening in your unit is protected by impact glass, you should have a mitigation form done, and you will save 15 to 25% on your homeowner's policy.
How do you give mitigation forms for like the roofs and the glass?
There should be, Keith should have those, your CAM should, First Service, someone at First Service should have those, but if you've done something unique to your unit, like this young lady here, then you're going to get one done specific for your unit, like she would. You would have to pay for that.
I had some owners approach me saying, the insurance company needs a mitigation report before I can get a quote.
Well, they don't need mitigation to get quotes, but they can get certain discounts, and those mitigation forms should be available through your First Service manager. Yeah. Good question? Nope.
But if it's a modification that you're talking about that's been done, you have to have your mitigation person come out and certify that.
Correct. That's correct. If she had all of her windows replaced with impact glass, she needs to hire a company to do the mitigation report specific to her unit, or get your window contractor to do it. Complete that form, send it to your insurance professional, and you will receive credits from your homeowner's carrier.
Yeah, here's one thing that I've heard from a lot of people. Oh, this is so simple. Everything inside the walls, inside the block, inside the garage, is the owner's responsibility. And I'm talking primarily about drywall, but that evidently is not true. The drywall, bringing it back to unfinished state, is the association's responsibility.
If it's a covered cause of loss, drywall and HVAC, ductwork and stuff, is the association's responsibility. Everything else would be the unit owners. So they're almost right. All right. Next slide. This is I'm a visual person, so it always helps me to look at things visually. I know there's one in your packet, sorry. And this kind of gives you an idea visually of responsibilities. Okay. Yeah. These days, you probably make sense to look like that upside down for 2020, right? This is a nice little summer checklist that we put together for everybody. Yeah. Well, I'll get to it. Okay. I've been so old, Brian has to tell me to remember to say things. But anyways, this is something that everybody should look at. And before you go out up north to Syracuse or New Hampshire, make sure you have your ducks in a row. Make sure you have a video. One thing is really also is, now that we have video cameras in our cell phones, what I would do prior to going up north for the summer, which we know summer means hurricane season, is take a video of my entire inside of the unit with my camera, including all my clothing, furniture, everything. So if something does happen, you'll have it on video, so you don't have to get in an argument with the insurance company that you had what you had in there, right? Also, for those of you that go up north for the summer, make sure you call your insurance professional and make sure there is not a vacancy clause on your HO6 homeowner's policy. Because a lot of policies do, and that vacancy clause says if your unit is unoccupied for more than 30 days, then some losses will not be covered. So make sure that you check with your insurance professional if your unit is going to be unoccupied for more than 30 days. Now, if you have a relative or a friend that lives in the neighborhood that can go check on your unit once every 30 days or once every week, then that would be, and you can show proof of that, then that would get around that in most cases. Yeah.
That was the opposite when you're coming down. Your homeowner's back up home. Same thing.
Yes, same thing. Same thing. Make sure you don't turn your air conditioner off, because if you turn your air conditioner off in the summer, you come back, you're going to have mold, and mold is not going to be covered under the insurance policy or very limited. And also, I kind of went over this before, property insurance policies, they only cover cause of losses, okay? They don't, and a cause of loss is something that is sudden and accidental, okay? A fire, a pipe burst, a water heater burst, a hurricane, a tornado, a water spout, vandalism. Those things are covered cause of losses under the insurance policy, sudden and accidental, not maintenance. Things that happen over a long period of time are typically not covered or excluded under insurance policies. For instance, if you went away for the summer and you didn't have your air conditioner on, you come back and guess what? There's mold all over your unit. Two reasons it's not going to be covered. One is we limited coverage for mold, and two is because it happened over a long period of time. A pipe leaks. Say you have a pipe that drips and drips and drips and drips for 6 months. Not going to be covered by an insurance policy because, again, that's something that happens over a long period of time. It's a maintenance issue. If you have a roof, say your roof is at the end of its life, and it leaks, and it leaks, and then it causes damage. Most of the time, if it's not going to be covered by an insurance policy because that's a maintenance issue. They don't cover maintenance issues. They cover if your roof is blown off, if you have lightning. Again, these insurance policies are not intended to be maintenance policies. Sudden and accidental. Termites aren't covered. If you have a tree that grows under your house and the roots damage your roof, your foundation, again, that's something that happened over a long period of time. That's typically not covered by insurance policies. Yes?
So if you go up north and it happens to rain down here, you don't know that in your roof leak, and you're not here, you don't know it leak, and you come down 3 months, 4 months later, it's not going to be covered.
That potentially could be covered. Okay? If it was actually, if it wasn't due to the roof being old, and it was actually a covered call, like a windstorm, then that potentially, but that's different than a pipe leaking. That would be, potentially, that probably would be covered. But I never speak in absolutes. Brian always reminds me this. So, who's a big Star Wars fan here? Anybody a big Star Wars fan? Remember, Jedi's never talk in absolutes. Nothing's ever 100%. That's how you get in a fight. You say, I always take the garbage out, or I always do. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. That's a little. So never talk in absolutes. I think it's So anyways, yes.
This business of being occupied and unoccupied.
Yes.
A lot of people pay if they're gone in the summer. They pay somebody to come in once a month, do whatever. I do it for a couple of my friends for nothing. But does that count if you go in once a month? I always run the water flushes, turn the water on, flush the toilets. And by the way, I always open the cold water faucets when I turn the water on, because you have high pressure can blow the ends off the pipe. So that visit once a month, does that make it so the insurance may cover it, although it was unoccupied by the original owner?
In my opinion, it does, but you need to check with your insurance professional because every carrier has a different standard of occupied versus unoccupied. But yes, I mean, we have a house up in Maine, and it's cold. We have to have someone check it once a month, once a week. And I checked with the insurance company, because our policy does have that same situation, and they said that does qualify as being occupied or looked after. So yes.
I live in a historic district, so I have carports. Are they covered?
Yes, carports are covered. Carports are covered by the property policy, yes.
How can I show them? Everybody asks, well, where is it?
Send me an email, tell me what association that you live in, and I will send you a copy of your, I'll say, whatever you ask, I'll get you.
That was actually added about 4 years ago.
Loss assessment.
And her deductible question.
What was the what's the deductible question?
She asked what her deductible, who pays for the deductible, which is a tie into the loss assessment.
Right, okay, loss assessment. So who knows what loss assessment coverage is? No? Come on, somebody, yes.
That's the coverage that I would buy in my HO6 policy
Yes.
in order to pay for.
Yes.
Because no matter what, that we talk about your homeowner's expenses and your condo expenses. Bottom line is, it comes out of one pocket.
Correct.
It comes out of our pocket.
Correct.
So if we've got a deductible, then all these things that are outstanding, we say, well, the association pays for, ultimately that comes out of our budgets that our associations have collected and have in an account
Correct.
to pay for deductible expenditures.
So but the loss assessment coverage. So everybody has an HO6 policy here, which is which is the technical term for condo policy, okay? On that condo policy is a coverage called loss assessment coverage. And by Florida law, every policy must have at least $2,000 of loss assessment coverage. At least $2,000. And what that loss assessment coverage does is, say we have a hurricane, because that's the only time we would ever have an assessment to unit owners, and it causes damage to our building, and then their deductible is 5%, and we would, in order to get that deductible, we would assess every unit owner. So if you get assessed $1,500 to pay for our deductible, you have loss assessment coverage, you turn that into your homeowner's carrier, and they will pay up to $2,000 for that assessment. Now, one thing you have to make sure you have wind coverage under your property policy. If you don't have wind coverage, then they won't cover it. But, so, what we're going to do this year is we're going to, once we've finalized bidding it out and renegotiating the contract with whoever we go with on April 15th, before hurricane season, we are going to send a letter out to every separate association that can be distributed to all the unit owners, and it is going to tell you what each unit owner maximum assessment would be in the case of a hurricane. Then when you get that number, you can call up your homeowner's carrier or your professional and say, listen, right now I know I have 2,000, can I buy 5,000? If you can, it's very inexpensive, and you can buy that. So it's a great way to transfer your risk to the insurance company.
But you're saying that loss assessment coverage is something that comes on my own private?
Correct. If you look at your policy, you will have $2,000 on that policy. Okay? The minimum.
And people with their own personal insurance need to have a wind coverage.
Correct. Because some people, and you may not know that, they may have an HO6 or a homeowner policy, but they may not have wind coverage. They may not even know it. So they need to make sure they have wind coverage. Because if you don't have wind coverage, you have damage from wind, and then there's a loss assessment due to wind, they're not going to pay for a loss assessment from a peril that you don't have coverage for. I had a lot of calls from people after Hurricane Irma that turned in their loss assessment, not here, down more in Marco Island and Naples, that did not have wind coverage, and they didn't know it. So, same thing. Wind and hurricanes is the same thing. Same exact thing. If you see a hurricane deductible on your policy, then you have wind coverage. If you want to know if you have wind coverage, now again, you should always call your insurance professional. Don't rely on what I'm, But if you see a percentage, like a 5, 10, 2, or 3% Hurricane deductible, that means you have wind coverage. Hurricane and wind are the same thing.
Last question. When we get our budget, much of us here are treasurers,
Yes.
and insurance,
Yes.
and it's not a price,
Yes.
and we pay so much a month. What is that charge?
Good question. So when you see a charge for insurance on your budget, that number is paying for property insurance, general liability insurance, directors and officers insurance, fidelity coverage, cyber coverage, and an umbrella coverage. Okay? And what we do is we negotiate those for you in a bulk contract to make sure we use the leverage of the entire community to drive rate down, which we're going to be we're going to be probably at close to $1 billion of property insurance at renewal this year.
So USI is covering any component that I would only.
Correct. So USI Insurance works for the association as your advocate. One of the things we do is negotiate terms and conditions for you for the 415 renewal. So we take your account out, we put the bid packages together, we take the appraisals, we take the NIT forms, we send that out to all the carriers that are quoting in the marketplace. We negotiate play one carrier against another, drive rate down, and then we decide with the board what's the best option for you based on financial strength, deductibles, etc.
Now, the other big argument in my neighborhood, where I live in a two-bedroom, one-bedroom complex. How do you assess the difference between the one-bedroom and the two-bedroom? They're not the same value. The expenses are different. How do you pick that out?
You'd have to go to your documents for that. The documents should state how you assess it from a deductible standpoint or a charge from a premium standpoint. That would have to outline by your attorney or something. I can't answer that. Yes.
What does USI stand for?
What do you think it stands for?
United States Insurance.
No. That's what I thought. So just a little background. So I started in insurance in February 6, 1996. I started working for a company called American Business Insurance. American Business Insurance was acquired by a company called Accordia. Then Accordia was acquired by a company called Wells Fargo Insurance Services. And 4 years ago, Wells Fargo Insurance Services was acquired by USI Insurance Services. So when USI acquired us, I thought it stands for United States Insurance, but it doesn't. It stands for understand, strategize, and innovate.
Service and innovate.
Understand, service, and innovate. That's what it stands for. We are privately held. We're the largest privately held broker in the world. We're owned by KK&R. We do over $2 billion in revenue a year. So that's who we are. Now, last year, we are new to your account. Last year, the insurance committee went out for RFP. They interviewed 5 to 10 different insurance brokers. We were hired based on that RFP. We came in, and we were able to move your property carrier from American Capital Insurance to a company called Heritage Insurance Company, and we saved the association over $1 million versus the incumbent property carrier. So this is this is a tough renewal. You know, the property marketplace, as you can imagine, is in terrible condition. Rates are, it's very difficult. You know, we have the storms, social inflation with GL claims going up, and awards getting higher. So again, the marketplace is trending higher. But again, we're going to do our best we can, and we have good partners. But again, we're going to go out for bid and do the best we can. But last year we were very successful, and we came in under budget and about a little bit over $1 million less than the other carrier wanted. Is that correct? All right. Any questions? Loss assessment. Everybody good with loss assessment? So once we get the 415 contract renewed and negotiated and renewed, and we come up with a deductible, which is probably going to be 5% again, we're going to send out every Kensington, all those different associations will get a separate letter. Because remember, that deductible is times the value, because every association has different values, so your deductible is going to change. So then you could go back to each unit owner, or unit owner should get the letter saying, hey, we could potentially have a $5,000 assessment. You go to your homeowners and say that, and you can buy additional coverage, hopefully.
We all have information bulletin boards. There's always a lot of confusion on this whole subject of insurance. If you or me or us, is there one of these pages that should be put in that information?
Yes. What I would do is I would take this page right here and I would put it on your bulletin board. I would take a picture of your phone and put it on your bulletin board. And second question, how many people are board members of their association? One thing I would be very careful of is if people ask you questions about insurance, do not answer those questions. Refer them to your first service manager. And then if they have to, you can refer them to Brian and I. Let the experts answer the questions. That's what you pay us for. Okay? And the last thing you want to do as a board member is give someone information that's not correct, and then they potentially, you lose a friendship or get sued. So again, I know you as board members, you're trying to be helpful, and you want to help people. But really the best way to do it is let the professionals answer the questions. But if I were you as a board member, I would stick this right on the board. Now the other thing I did bring up is, if you have an annual meeting that you would like Brian and I to attend to, we would be more than happy to attend and answer any of these questions in person as well. So let us know, and we'll be to that as well. Any questions? She's ready to go. Look at her. She is ready to go. She got what she needed. All right. I'm done. I think, is there anything else I didn't cover, Brian?
Covered it all.
Any other questions? Did I miss anything? And I do want to stress, if you do call me, or make sure you say, hey, this is so-and-so with Federation of Kings Point, Kensington, call me or Brian, email us. Again, we are here for you. You're one of our largest accounts. Even if you were one of our smallest accounts, we will always answer our phone if we're available. If my wife and I gets very mad at me, but I will do it. Two more questions, yes.
I just want to make a statement. One of the best things you said, all since I have and all been great, is that don't talk about insurance. Whatever you do, don't send them to the perfect, Hams or somebody. I've been a board member for many, many years, and right from the beginning, if I don't know, I won't say, and I always say, I don't do insurance.
Leave it to the professionals. It sounds like someone says to me, hey, I got pain down my left shoulder. I'm not going to say, well, I think you're having a stroke, and try to diagnose them. I'm not a doctor. Send them to the professionals. Especially with insurance. Insurance, legal, accounting, that's what you guys pay your professionals for. And as board members, you want to enjoy your community, right? You're doing it as a service and not as a burden, right? It's pay. I heard it's paying big money here, though. I heard big money here at the Federation. All right, do I have any gift cards left? I do have a gift card and a tumbler. A Dunkin' Donuts fake Yeti. What's some trivia? What's a good trivia? Claim example. I want to talk insurance. What's another good? Okay, so what is the only U.S. currency, paper currency, that does not have a president on it? Paper currency. Ben Franklin, that's right. Ben Franklin was not the president, he's on the $100 bill. $100 bill. Alright, we got one more. Two more. Who loves Dunkin' Donuts? Does anybody love Dunkin' Donuts? You do too? Does anybody else? Did you get a card yet? Alright. Who didn't get a card? Does anybody else, do you love Dunkin' Donuts? You got a card, or you got a tumbler. I'm going to get this. You had a good question. Oh, did you guys get one?
Yeah, we work together.
Okay, here. You guys can have one, just because you guys are great. Thank you for listening. All right, well, that's insurance. I love what I do. Hopefully I made it interesting for you all. And again, if you have any questions, please refer to Brian and I, and you guys have a great afternoon. My wife's family is from Piqua, yes. It's a great place to be stranded, too.